Hey guys, I am back. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't visited me before, my name is Melissa and I am a designer and a maker. On this channel, I talk about the intersection of design and handmade business. So today I thought that I might walk you through the process of loading my car for our art market. I've been doing this for a while. I have a little different perspective than a lot of people do on this. I hate using a tent. So I, whenever possible, do a table setup. And I am always a single person setup. And so I usually try to make it so that I can fit my entire display in one trip to the car in my little wagon. So I also drive a very small car. So this is always an interesting little task, getting everything to fit in the car and making it as minimal and simple of a setup as possible. So let's load up my car. So, fun fact, I had to record the following videos 2 times. The first time was so much better. Oh, my microphone died, and so there was no sound. The lighting was better. Dude, my hair looked better, but there's no sound. Anyway, this was a labor of love, this video, so I really hope that you like the following little explanation of how I pack my car. All right, guys, welcome to the garage. Okay, so as you can tell, I have a tiny little car to fit my market setup in. It's always super fun to get a tent in here. But today I am just I'm just packing up for a market that I have a table space at, which is my preferred method. I just did a market last weekend, so my pile of most of my stuff is over there, and then I keep most of my product over here. Let's get this packed in the car, shall we? All right, guys, let's load up my car. So I always start with the back seat. Since I have a little car, I kind of have to everything has its place so that everything fits nicely. Let me get started. I always start with my chair. I've got kind of this folding bar stool thing, which is nice because when I do my display, I kind of have this section that's higher. And if I were on a regular chair, I'd be hiding behind it, which is a little weird. So I have this folding bar stool. This always goes in first because it goes nice and flat against the back seat. Next, I do my pegboard box. This is a custom piece that I've built. It's basically a box that's made from pegboard, and I hang all of my little accessories on there, my key rings, my bookmarks, things like that. It's open on one side, so I store a bunch of stuff in it for transportation also. So this guy goes in next. I've kind of sewn this little sleeve that helps it keep from getting too banged up when I'm transporting it. Okay, next up, the fan favorite, the folding wagon. If you do not have one of these, run, do not walk, run to Costco and get one. This is by far the best $50 I have ever spent on my craft show business. This guy goes in next. Every now and then I forget and put him in last, and he's difficult to put in last with these wheels flopping around, so he goes next. All right, next we have the table, which is the most critical piece. Never forget your table. I'm always on the way to an event do I have my table? If I have nothing else to have my card reader and my table. So this is just a folding 6-foot table. It's the most common size for something like this. Some people use 8s, but most table spaces, which is what I have at this event, are 6 feet wide. One other tip about loading your table is I always find it helps to load the rounded corner in first. Make sure your handle's on the top so you can grab it when you gotta pull it back out. The nice thing about doing that is your hinge is on the edge, and that way sometimes you can use that hinge to kind of pull it if you need a little more leverage when you're getting it back out of your car. All right, last but not least, I've got my trusty umbrella. Since this is a table spot, I always bring an umbrella. I live in Arizona where it is hot and sunny more than not. I think I'm gonna have shade tomorrow, but I always bring this just in case. Even if I think I'm gonna have shade, I bring it because it has saved me more times than one when I didn't think I was going to use it. And sometimes I even lend it to my neighbor if they're getting way more sun than me. This little umbrella, I love it. It is from Walmart. It's $35. It's this really nice neutral gray color, but the really nice thing about it is that it is rectangular. And so the footprint of it matches my table almost exactly. That's something I really love about it. I love it so much I bought a second one just to have a backup in case this one ever breaks or something like that. I love this umbrella. I think an umbrella is a must-have if you're someone who sets up as a table vendor. That little guy always goes in last because he's actually wider than my car, and so I have to angle it, and so I kind of have to like wedge it between some stuff to get it to angle and not just fall right out. All right, everything's loaded in the back, so now let me start loading up my products and everything else in the trunk. In the back trunk, I put almost always my products and then a couple other displays. It's a little overcast right now, so hopefully I'll be able to record this video before it gets too windy or starts to rain again. First up, I have these 2 bins that I always put in first. These are Cerealite bins, and they are 8.5 by 11 in size. They're kind of like just a slightly smaller than a boot box. They're a little tricky to find this size, but I like this size because it fits inside my little wagon and then allows me to still slap kind of my table in next to it. And then they also have the latches, which I find to be good too, so that lids don't like accidentally pop off. I'm going to be putting these 2 in first because they have my display fixtures in them, and whatever goes in first will come out last and be on the top of the cart. And so I'm kind of careful to make sure to put in what I'm going to need first in first so that it comes out last, if that makes any sense at all. So these guys go in first. Next, I've got a couple of the same style of bin, but these are my products. These are greeting cards, these are art prints. I've got a little container of key rings in there, and so these I put in next so that they're the next thing down in my cart when I go to unload. And then finally, I've got this guy. This is, I think it's called a media box. I got it from the Container Store. It's really cool because it has all these different compartments and you can kind of move these dividers around. It was not inexpensive, but I love it because it helps me keep every type of like accessory product separated. So I've got all my different styles of earrings in a different bin. I've got bookmarks in a bin, stickers in a bin, and it just keeps everything really nicely organized, but in one single thing. And then the really nice thing is those boot boxes, or whatever they're called, those latching boxes, I can fit 2 on top of here. So this has like the exact same footprint as 2 of those, which means I can stack my cart up really nice and everything kind of is like locked together. So I think I only have 1 thing left. I will be right back with that. I was wrong, I definitely have more than 1 thing left. Since I'm bringing an umbrella to this craft show, since it's a table setup, I do need the umbrella stand. I got this, I think I got it at Home Depot. I think it was just like 30 or 40 bucks. You don't need anything like super crazy, but you do need something to ensure that it locks onto your umbrella so your umbrella doesn't tip or get carried off. Next, I've got my bin of shims. It's a box of wood. I always almost forget this, but I try to always bring it with me because you never know when you're gonna end up in a spot that has like uneven terrain. It has saved me more times than once, even when I'm going to events that I've been to before and I think I know how flat the surface is. Even if you're going somewhere that's in a parking lot or on a road, sometimes the road can be crowned and it won't actually be straight, or there's a pothole or something like that. So I try to always bring this box of wood shims. I don't always bring them to the site with me. Sometimes I just leave them in the car until I figure out if I need them or not. But it's just basically a 1x4 board that I had cut up into, I think 10-inch sections is what I did. So I've got like 7 or 8 of them in there. And then I also actually bring real legitimate shims. These are significantly thinner, but sometimes you just need to shim something just a little tiny bit to keep it from wobbling. And then last but not least, I have my greeting card and print rack. I used to have those birch racks that so many people have, but you know, they don't break down very easily. I found when I've tried to break it down, sometimes I break them. And I always worry about them kind of like falling off of my cart when I'm getting to the space. And so this is a new addition to my display and I am loving it. I find it's so much easier to transport. And then this little thing, it doesn't come with this. This is actually an art portfolio. Sometimes I'm able to put this right into my cart. Sometimes I do this kind of situation and then pull my cart with the other arm. You're gonna see that I fit everything in one cart trip, and that's kind of like my thing. I hate going back and forth to the car. All of this is engineered to have as nice of this display possible in as little of trips as possible. So that's it for the back of the car. Like I said, I'm going to show you the setup of this. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna add it to this video or if I'm gonna break it into a second video. So we'll find out soon what I'm gonna do. Okay, here's where reverse packing the car starts to shine. As I'm pulling this out, I'm putting what I need last on the bottom and what I need first on the top. And did you know you can fit a table in one of these carts? If you can, it's my best hack. And off we go. Right about now, the vendor that was going to be my neighbor informed me our spots got moved around, and I was actually in her spot and I needed to move my table. This is one of the good things about a table spot. They're super easy to move, and this is actually not my first time having to move my table. I always start unpacking the larger items first, and for me that's my greeting cards and my art prints. This way my setup looks about half full while I'm finishing setting up all the smaller pieces. So if people come early and want to shop before the event technically begins, I have a bunch of stuff out that they can look at while I'm putting out all the smaller accessories. Alright, we are all set up, and here's what the display looks like when it's all put together. As much as I've got this display down to a science at this point, I have found that I do need to change things up every now and again. I used to put these little cactus studs in a dish. I thought it looked a little like a grown-up candy dish, and people loved looking through them that way. And then the sales started to slow. Now I put them back in one of these slatted wood trays, and they've been selling quicker. I hang all of my dangle earrings on one of these little pegboards. You guys, I'm a little obsessed with pegboards. I try to put each earring style on a hook, and then I'll put other colors of that same style behind them. And then we have my trusty pegboard box. I built this box, so I can't tell you where to buy it because I built it with my own 2 hands. This is where I display all of my different accessories. I put my brass bookmarks on one side and my paper books on the other side. And then I put all of my key rings lined up along the top. Next, we have my hoop earrings. This is a rack that I just bought off Amazon. It's technically supposed to go into a wood base, but I just removed the base and drilled a couple holes in the top of my pegboard box and then inserted the rack into those 2 holes. And then I have a sample of our coloring book. I don't actually bring stock of these to our shows, but you can order them on Amazon, so I just bring a sample for them to look at with a QR code for them to order online. And then I've got my greeting cards and art prints all in this rack. Got all our pricing listed. I do try to group the greeting cards together. I put all of the birthday at the top, and then I put all the local themes at the bottom, with some of the special occasion in between. And then we've got our stickers down here as well. If you're wondering where I got this little sticker tray, this is another one of those pieces that I made myself. So here is the whole setup, my very minimal market display. And there you have it. That is my super simple market setup. This definitely took a few years to kind of evolve and kind of come into place and be so streamlined, but I hope it gave you some inspiration on maybe some ways you can streamline your display, or that maybe it just gave you some inspiration to kind of like consider reverse engineering certain areas of your display so that they can kind of come together and transport more easily for you. If you guys have any tips, I would love to hear them in the comments. If you guys like this video, please consider subscribing or leaving a comment below or liking this video. I'm a brand new channel, so all of those things help tell YouTube that you guys are liking this content, and that just helps them distribute it more. So if you guys could do that, I would really appreciate it so much. Bye.